Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. This afternoon, danger looms at a Chimota-bound retaining wall on the Tantra Hill underpass as unscrupulous persons steal exposed iron rods, sparking safety concerns. We're bringing you an update from the area as the Ghana Highways Authority allays immediate danger. Also coming up on the program, 5-member committee probing petition seeking removal of suspended Chief Justice Beatrice Adu begins in-camera hearing today. And much later this afternoon, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy is meeting agencies in energy sector to consider the 2025 program of activities amid current power supply challenges in parts of the country. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the 5-member committee established by President John Mahama to investigate 3 petitions filed against suspended Chief Justice Beatrice Adu has begun hearings. The committee, chaired by Supreme Court Justice Gabriel Kwaman, was constituted in accordance with Article 1466 of the Constitution, following the determination of a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. The committee, which will sit in camera, is scheduled to convene 3 times each week and will submit its recommendations to the President upon the conclusion of its work. Now, Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana spells out the terms and procedures for the removal of justices of superior courts and chairpersons of regional tribunals. Let me take you through what clauses 7 to 9 state when a committee is set up to probe after the determination of a prima facie case has been made. So 7 says the committee appointed under clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. 8 says all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera, and the justice or chairman against whom the petition is made is entitled to be heard in his defense by himself or by a lawyer or other expert of his choice. And then 9 says the President shall, in each case, act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. So there you have it, Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, reading to you from clauses 7 to 9. Well, a former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kwekwan Sansare, spoke earlier about what the committee will set out to do, and he spoke on New Day on TV3.
Under Article 146, 6, the committee has been appointed by the President. Now, by virtue of Article 146, Clause 7, the committee shall inquire into the petition. So this morning begins the inquiry. That the committee shall inquire into the petition and then, in pursuance thereof, recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. The interesting thing is that the proceedings of this committee shall be held in camera. So it is not open, to the glare for the public. And it is for good reason. So we are dealing, with one of the strong pillars of our democracy, the Chief Justice. Therefore, there are certain matters that will not have to be in the public domain, but for the years of the members of the committee hearing the petition. So they are commencing their inquiry this morning, and because it is an inquiry, they will be legally or constitutionally obliged to go by the petition And here, the petition may be taken as the statement in writing whereby the petitioner or the petitioners have set out in detail the facts supported by the necessary documents on which the petitioner or the petitioners claim that the Chief Justice has misconducted herself. So it is not an easy matter. It's, to lend credibility to the whole inquiry, they have to be guided, by the Wesley principles. And that means that if the petition does not contain or measure up to legal standards, then it makes the work of the committee lighter. On the other hand, if the facts are credible, with the support of documents or exhibits, then it makes their work judicially sound. Because at the end of the inquiry, they are to return a finding of whether or not the petitions do disclose a prima facie case. Under Article 146, Clause 9, the President shall, in each case, act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. And under Article 146, 6, it is provided that the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court. So we have 2 justices of the Supreme Court. Then it goes on to provide that one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President. And the President has done that, so he has acted in accordance with the Constitution. Then he says 3 other persons. Okay. Now, these 3 other persons can be chosen, from any sector of the society, provided that they are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. And so you have mentioned, for instance, one from the armed forces, another from the audit service and all that. So again, the President has acted in accordance with the Constitution. So unless anyone, can raise an eyebrow that, one or 2 of the members are lawyers or members of the Council of State, then the President would have contravened provisions of the Constitution. So whether a person is Auditor General or Controller and Accountant General or the Commander of the Armed Forces, or it's neither here nor there, the key words are that they shall not be members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So long as, or in as much as we have 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom has been appointed chairman, and the 3 other members come from the sector within which they shall be selected from, there's no problem.
There's no problem, he says, and that was a former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kwaku Ansansari, speaking earlier on New Day with Roland Walker. Now, criminals suspected to be scrap dealers and operating under the cover of darkness have reportedly peeled off the covering used for the iron rod at a section of the Tantra Hill underpass. Portions of the affected area can be seen with the iron rods exposed and some totally vandalized. This is causing some of the rebars to corrode at a faster rate, affecting surrounding concrete sections. A statement issued by the Ghana Highways Authority said that an assessment undertaken by a team of engineers reviewed spalling over a localized area of the retaining wall, which has exposed the rebars, leading to theft by unscrupulous individuals. The statement, however, assured that the underpass remains structurally sound and safe for all users, and that repair would be carried out shortly to prevent further deterioration. Our road safety reporter, Christian Yale, visited the site. He joins us live in studio now. Chris, just tell us what you found when you were there.
It's a worrying situation, Beatrice, when you get there, because when you are moving from Tantra Hill towards Achimota, so we say this is happening at the Achimota bound side of the underpass, you realize that, and per assessment and per what we identified ourselves, the concrete which was used to form the covering or the retaining wall has become very weak and porous, and so it is very easy for anyone at all to peel a part of it and get direct access to the iron rods or the rebars as it is called. And so when we go there, we realize that a significant portion or section of the underpass has had the retaining wall peeled off or spoiled, like you would call it, and then a number of the iron rods have also been cut. A lot of them have corroded, and then some that are remaining are equally exposed to weather, the air, and then the water as well.
Of course, the vagaries of the weather.
Exactly. And so when this happens, what it means is that over the period, these ones that have been exposed are going to expand, and as the expansion takes place, it will further weaken the other sections of the retaining walls, causing further, peel-offs of that side. And so what we saw when we got there was that, I mean, when you look at the floor, almost at the inner side of the road, you realize that a lot of these blocks that have been peeled off are still scattered on the floor, and it's very dangerous. And then a lot of the iron bars are equally staked out, and so when you get closer to the wall, you can easily be affected, especially when you don't know that such is happening, especially for the bicycle riders and the motor riders who use that side of the stretch. And come in.
Do you have an idea, perhaps, what they might have done, which is giving us the kind of results you're seeing? These unscrupulous people.
Exactly. So when I go there, I for instance realized that it is easy to pull some of the walls, and now it has given access. It's like almost every aspect of it, and it's not even that particular section that we have seen circulate on social media. About 2 or 3 sections of that very stretch have had the retaining walls peeled off. So you don't know what exactly they did, because you realize that some of the bolts and nuts that are used to fasten even the metal railings have equally been removed, which raises serious concern. So some you may attribute to either, car crashes or accidents, but a lot of them can be attributed to human activities. And
I want you to hold on as we listen to some of the people you spoke to when you were on site.
Say na dia ho ne say ne ekoso o very serious. Me we say me kai na baby ye nam bia ye de dade ato aka fa so bia o mayi. Nyame ka say Taifa udu we say Taifa or the saying we station ho. Dade e da ho no mo a ye fa so o mayi. Ghana Commercial Bank had the Omayi. Any had the say, baby, and then be a modern sad and so almost no musia no coin. And yes, be an adjo, or be no nimsi a year. As them to my course.
True, it's very dangerous. Which those people who are in charge, they should be looking at it, and then the moment they remove it, they should fix it there. Because that one you can't prevent them. You don't know the time they come. They come in the night where you are sleeping. I've seen some before. We were in the trotro, and then all of a sudden he hit the bar. Because they have removed both the nose there.
Some passengers, actually residents, corroborating what Christian Yale said earlier. The first one spoke in Tree. What exactly was he saying?
Yes, so his concern is that as drivers and even as pedestrians, you realize that there are significant places that metal slabs are used to cover holes. All of these have been removed by these persons suspected to be scrap dealers. And so in the night, when you don't know, you may fall into such pit. And also the fact that for areas like the Tantra Hills underpass that this has happened, when some of these metal railings that are guarding the outer and then the inner lanes are vandalized, you may trip off as a pedestrian, and once falling down, you fall on some of these iron rods that are exposed, which is the concern he was expressing there.
That could be fatal.
Very fatal and very concerning. And you realize that on the side, aside from the assurance given by the Ghana Highway Authority and our interaction with the Ministry of Roads and Highways, nothing significantly has been done at the site to demonstrate or to show that there is even a safety warning or caution, nothing of the sort. So,
and indeed, if you're listening to us, you may want to log on to Facebook because we're showing you visuals of what Christian Yale is telling us on this just walk in there, look at the iron rods just sticking out there.
Exactly.
And you could just get choked by any of them.
Very, very corroded, they are expanding, and you see that on the floor or on the ground. You realize that when this happened, there were some safety experts who went there. So when you check really, when you move forward, you realize that at some of the places, you see some safety gadget or safety attires or some of those things that the road safety people use on the floor, and then you see some car part or some vehicles on the floor. So this is one of the metal railings that has been completely vandalized.
As we're showing you on Facebook.
As we're showing you on Facebook on 3FM 92.7.
But briefly before you go, beyond the assurances from the Ghana Highways Authority, did you see or do you have information as regards any immediate steps to rectify the situation?
What we know is that ordinarily you would have the engineer or the contractor move to site immediately to rectify this defect or deterioration, but nothing of the sort is there as of now. The only assurance we know is that this is not a cause for alarm because the underpass is still intact and very strong and sound for use, but the safety of pedestrians, those who use the road, you can see that just up there is the outer lane. And so what happens is that when there is any form of accident or even if a person trips off, they fall directly onto these exposed iron rods, which is the safety concern. And these, metal railings, the bolts and nuts that have been exposed. So that is the concerning issue, but we know that very soon they should be addressed.
Hopefully. Thank you so much, Christian Yale, road safety reporter. Let's get a quick word from Abdullahi Mahama. He's a building and civil engineer. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Beatrice.
I don't know whether you had the opportunity to see the visuals we're talking about currently scrolling on our Facebook as we talk about this thing, but from your experience, what do you think may have caused this damage to the retaining wall?
Well, thank you to your service listeners. I think the Ghana Highway Authority's report or statement is spot on. There's no cause for alarm, and because this is a very huge structure, which is actually supposed to separate the grade, those at the top there and those below. It's just supposed to ensure that those who are in the main carriageway are safe from those who are at the top. What I have assessed myself over the weeks before even this was reported is that, those areas have been getting a lot of accidents. Vehicles actually run some of these structures. But this is not any common concrete that anybody can go from the start and start to peel off. It might have been a very great impact from a vehicle, a heavy-duty vehicle that actually smashed into the concrete, causing that area to spiral. If you look at the report that they brought, the statement, it's a localized area. It's not like it's a defect during the construction. This is more than, I think this construction was done somewhere in 2009, 2010, 11. And so there's nothing to worry about. I'm sure that the report that was just released, the Ghana Highway Authority team of engineers are going to assess the situation, and they have to just go back and remobilize and then come in and remedy the situation. On top of the road, which is the surface, the service lane, you can see that some of the bolts have actually been loosened. It's because of the impact that went onto the concrete that has caused some of these bolts to be removed. Once the DHA have actually given a statement that the team of engineers have gone to assess the situation, obviously they are going to remedy the situation. And you see, on the main carriageway, you don't expect pedestrians to be walking on that side because it's very dangerous to walk around that side. That's why the service lane and the footbridges are actually strategically located along the corridor so that pedestrians who want to move to the other side of the road can use the pedestrian crossing safely to traverse the other side. You cannot be in the main carriageway and be walking that side. It's dangerous. It's even dangerous for bicycles to be running in that area. Not because of the defect, but that side is not necessary for bicycles, but they are supposed to be at the service lane instead of the main carriageway.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahama, for speaking to us. And he had Abdullahi Mahama. He's a building and civil engineer. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, some 19 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll tell you more about some two National Service Secretariat officials who have been arrested for their involvement in payroll fraud. Don't go away.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Freezer, yeah, diaba. Adama for diaba. A freezer. Adama, a crafty sementia. Adama. Metimoso, my sorry. Can you know? Obo Moasia. I do for the Nobium Unum and San last night. I don't know what we did. Adama for Adula Crafton, who said, yeah, the Adruba Cope, a ship will be a high technology. I go for freezer. When Kwan, and once open your 15 letters. No fugum, what ya no fugum. What the boss here, for you be any of us, you, and what is said, over Timono. Then we sure say, woman sure task here. No more send up for now, freezer, power up a day, freezer.
Basia, a basson do so among
Omtina me, Miwasika, Omtina me, but you may not do some doom. Adama, with that Adama, no queer. Adama, you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for a dream or baby bear a tongue cry who hate you. I say Kayona Kinkai in Choya a dream.
And it's so high on the Medani on Shri FM 92.7. Now motorists on the 40-kilometer N1 highway stretch from Asmasi to Nkrofo Junction in the Western region are calling for rehabilitation works on the stretch to be expedited before the rains set in. Irama Smith joins us live from the Western region now. Irama, just tell us more about how important this road is and why we're having to have this call.
Right, Beatrice. So this road is from the boundary of the Western region, the Central region, that's the Samar district, and it's into the Sekendi Takrady Metro Assembly area. Now, this route is part of the N1, meaning that vehicles moving from Accra, beyond Accra, Lome, and all those places towards Ivory Coast definitely use this road. And this is a road that has not seen any major repairs since it was constructed or rehabilitated in the 1990s. So it's very, very, very important haulage of goods and services, and even within the country itself. This is the road that sends Western region to the Central region. And in times past, one could move from Takrady towards Cape Coast or even Elmina within 40 minutes. Now you do that in more than 1 hour, because the road is very dilapidated, and so vehicles have to take a longer period on this road.
And I know you've been speaking to the engineer. Let's listen to him, and then I'll come back to you.
Currently, we are on the National Road N1, the Asamasa to Takrady section of the National Road N1. This is one of the critical roads within the country because it links Western region to Ivory Coast, and then Western region to Cape Coast, and then Accra. What we are doing is we are sectionally repairing these sections. That's Kodokro, Nkrofo, Intraban, and then Anto, where we are currently. So what we have done is we have scarified the road, introduced boulders at the soft spots, and then we put 040 to make the road a more travel section for now.
Irama, this looks like a temporary measure. Are there any long-term plans for the stretch?
I've been speaking to the Western Regional Minister, and it looks like there isn't any for now. So what he said was that this is to alleviate the difficulties of the motorists while we wait for a more comprehensive arrangement. So we are waiting with hopes that there'll be this arrangement to ensure that sees a very comprehensive rehabilitation.
I'm happy that today we've been able to do this at this very spot, because it's been a huge challenge for motorists, especially those big trucks that ply this road. And so it's some good job done. As you may well know, this is a road that was constructed over how many years? Close to 30 years, I think. Perhaps over 30 years in the early 90s. So it must be over 30 years. And so to see this challenges on the road is not surprising. And so what we are doing is not going to be a permanent solution to the challenge. As I did state the other day, it's going to be just a short-term measure to bring relief to motorists. And I believe that it is going to do exactly that, as we are waiting for a long-term solution to.
And you heard the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson. Earlier, you heard our correspondent from the Western Region, Rama Smith. The National Service Authority, NSA, has interdicted 2 officers in the Brim North District of the Eastern Region for their involvement in a payroll fraud scheme. Preliminary investigations revealed that the 2 managers knowingly validated and processed monthly allowances for 29 individuals in the 2024-2025 service year and 49 individuals in the 2023-2024 service year. These individuals, either on study leave with pay or already in full-time employment, were fraudulently listed as regular National Service personnel. In a statement, the Director General of the National Service Authority, Felix Jemfi, said that the incident reflects a broader payroll fraud challenge affecting the authority nationwide. To address the issue, the NSA is implementing a comprehensive cleanup of the enrollment process. Moving forward, all records submitted for National Service enrollment will be cross-checked with the Controller and Accountant General's Department database to prevent double remuneration and identity falsification. The NSA has also warned that staff found guilty of facilitating fraud will face dismissal and prosecution. Affected public servants also risk losing their primary jobs, face legal action, and be permanently barred from public service. To the northern part of the country, where the High Court in Tamale has convicted 6 individuals for their various roles in a payroll corruption scheme involving ghost names and fraudulent salary payments within the Ghana Education Service. They were convicted after pleading guilty under the Office of the Special Prosecutor's plea bargaining framework, leading to full restitution and reparation to the state. The convicted persons include school administrators, payroll officers, and accountants who facilitated the illegal validation and reactivation of salaries for a teacher who had vacated his post. A statement issued on May 15, that's today, via the Facebook page of the OSP, said the actions led to the wrongful payment of over 86,000 Ghana cedis, all of which has now been recovered, bringing the total retrieved to some 106,319.64 Ghana cedis. And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Now, this afternoon, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy is meeting with agencies in the sector to consider the 2025 program of activities. Some of the agencies include the Energy Commission, Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, PURC, Gridco, NEDCO, Bui Power Authority, VRA, and the Electricity Company of Ghana. Well, our reporter, George Quainin, is there. He joins us live on the line. George, just first of all, tell us some of the issues that have come up at this meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Beatrice, for having me. And I don't know, like you rightly mentioned, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Energy is meeting agencies in the power sector. And, you know, every economy thrives on sustainable power supply. And here in Ghana, our bane is the inconsistencies. And so some of the things that came to be is the fact that we have transmissional losses. That's between 29 and 30%. But in the Western world, it's just between 8 and 9%. So if we're able to curtail that, I'm sure the sector will be very viable. And so some big companies also in the country and entities do not pay the electricity bills. And that has also been a challenge confronting the sector.
I know the Energy Minister has been talking beyond what you said. Tell us what he's been saying exactly, and then we'll hear from him directly.
Okay, so the Energy Minister actually sent a word of caution to administrative officers, directors, area managers, and general managers as a whole. So if these people do not work in tandem with the lay-down procedures, they would have their, they'll be laid off. The minister himself says he's put his work on the line, and even the president might sack him if he doesn't do the right thing. So you can tell that he is really anxious and bent on making sure that the sector, bounces back to normality, because every viable economy needs sustainable parts. But so he's very critical about it. If you're not doing your job, if you're lazing around, if you're sabotaging the system, you will be laid off. So let's hear from the minister.
I'm sorry, George, our time is up. We'll have to continue this conversation in our subsequent bulletins, and we'll bring you the sound of the Energy Minister, John Jinapor, as well later. Thank you so much for joining us. Bismarck Awusa is now standing by with the latest in business. He comes up with Business Daily. Log on to shreenews.com for more news. Good afternoon.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Awusa. Coming up this afternoon, Bank of Ghana reaffirms existing forex withdrawal guidelines as it reveals no new restrictions on over-the-counter cash withdrawals in foreign currency. Also ahead, CD's strong performance triggers price drops at major furniture and retail outlets as confidence in local currency grows. Plus, Ghana's non-traditional export earnings dropped to 3.83 billion cedis dollars in 2024. Ahead, we will hear from Chief Executive of GEPA, reaffirming commitment to boost trade as processed and manufactured goods dominate sector.
Although this reflects a 2.87% dip from the 2023 performance, it is important to acknowledge the strength of the fundamentals.
These stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the very first story. The Bank of Ghana has clarified that foreign currency withdrawals over the counter remain permitted under existing rules following public speculation and confusion over access to dollars. The central bank says this is in accordance with its existing Foreign Exchange Act 2006. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. The Bank of Ghana says it has not introduced any new restrictions on over-the-counter cash withdrawals in foreign currency. The central bank, in a public notice, reaffirmed that customers with foreign exchange accounts and foreign currency accounts can continue to access cash in foreign denominations directly from their banks. The bank says non-account holders are still eligible to purchase up to $10,000 in forex per trip for international travel, provided they present a valid passport, visa, and confirmed travel ticket as stipulated in earlier guidelines. The Ghana Association of Banks has also stepped in to clarify that its members have not received any fresh instructions from the Bank of Ghana restricting dollar withdrawals. Chief Executive John Ewa emphasized that banks continue to operate under the long-standing provisions of the Foreign Exchange Act 2006. This comes amid growing demand for forex and concerns of cedi depreciation, prompting calls for clear communication to avoid market speculation. The Bank of Ghana is urging banks and the public to adhere strictly to existing rules. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on Bank of Ghana reaffirming its existing forex withdrawal guidelines as it reveals no new restrictions on over-the-counter cash withdrawals in foreign currency has been introduced. Moving on, the Bank of Ghana has successfully mopped up 4.61 billion cedis from the financial market through its latest open market operation, selling 56-day bills. This move underscores the central bank's ongoing efforts to manage excess liquidity and stabilize short-term interest rates as Ghana continues to grapple with elevated inflationary pressures. There is more in the following News Desk report. Some shopping outlets and furniture shops in Ghana are reducing prices of goods and products.
The auction saw the short-term instrument priced at a yield of 27.9%. This rate is slightly below the BOG's current benchmark policy rate of 28%. While the central bank did not reveal the total bids received or its target size for the auction, market analysts have described the outcome as encouraging. This indicates sustained investor demand for high-yielding assets denominated in cedis within the current tight monetary environment. These short-dated bills form a crucial part of the Bank of Ghana's strategy to influence interbank lending rates and keep inflation expectations in check. The significant amount raised signals the central bank's continued focus on managing systemic liquidity without compromising its inflation targeting objectives. The 4.6 billion cedis secured through this issuance is also expected to contribute to government short-term financing requirements, highlighting the ongoing collaboration between fiscal and monetary authorities in Ghana's economic recovery efforts following recent challenges.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on the Bank of Ghana raking in 4.61 billion cedis in open market operation auction amid inflation fight. Now, some major retail outlets and furniture shops in Ghana have started reducing prices of their products, citing the cedi's recent appreciation against the dollar. The local currency has gained over 16% against the greenback so far this year, prompting businesses like Oka Deco and My Home Furniture to pass on cost savings to consumers. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. Some shopping outlets and furniture shops in Ghana are reducing prices of goods and products in response to the Ghana cedi's strong performance against major international currencies. Household and furniture retailer Oka Deco Ghana has announced a 15% reduction on some items, attributing the decision to the cedi's recent appreciation. In a social media update, the company hinted that prices will continue to reflect the currency's stability on the forex market. Another outlet, My Home Furniture and Decor, has slashed the price of a 45,000 cedis furniture set to 29,000 cedis, while Alaha, which deals in household items, is also offering a 10% discount across its shops. This comes as the cedi gained 6.25% against the dollar in the retail market last week, making it the best performing currency among 15 sub-Saharan African peers. The cedi is now trading at 13 cedis 60 pesos to the dollar on the retail market, with a mid rate of 12 cedis 89 pesos on the interbank market. Meanwhile, Ghana's credit ratings have also received a boost as global rating agency S&P upgraded the country's sovereign credit score to CCC+, citing economic growth, fiscal reforms, and improved external performance. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on some major shopping outlets, supermarkets, reducing their prices due to cedi's appreciation. Now, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, has revealed that non-traditional export earnings for 2024 stood at $3.83 billion, which is a 2.87% decrease from the previous year. The report has revealed that manufacturers and semi-produced sectors contributed over 83% of the total non-traditional export earnings. Speaking at the launch of the NTE Statistics Report 2024, Chief Executive of GEPA, Francis Kojo Kwatin, stated that his outfit is committed to increasing the trade volumes in the coming years.
The marginal dip is primarily linked to reduced exports in iron and steel products to ECOWAS region. Yet we registered encouraging gains in several other sectors. The manufacturers and semi-processed sectors remain the backbone of our exports, contributing over 83% to total earnings. Of particular interest is the performance of cocoa paste, which grew by 35.54%, driven by robust demand from Europe and North America. This highlights Ghana's competitive edge in value-added cocoa products, a direction we will continue to champion. The agricultural sector increased contribution to 13.48%, while the industrial and arts and crafts sector recorded significant growth of nearly 23%. A powerful reminder of the global appetite for Ghana's creative and cultural exports.
And that was Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Francis Kojo Kwatin, ending Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company.